Hi, welcome to Deb's K&D Springers here at my home in my grooming shop. And this is Dog Tricks of the Trade. One thing that I did want to point out to all of you, if we're at the dog show today, I showed you this on our last segment as far as getting ready for the dog show. This is an Visine bottle, but this is colloidal silver. And at a dog show, I would have already put some in his eyes earlier in the day. And it's just a drop that soothes his eyes. It would get any of the red hull out if there is any. Oh, good. I guess you have to watch my videos on how to put in ear wraps since you shook and yours came out. So what we're mostly going to be doing today is the top coat work. If I have time today, I'll do the final trim as far as the underline. Don't know if we'll have time for that, but it will get done. So, last time we had stopped, we had been working on this. We had worked on this side, which still needs work. Okay. I haven't even touched this side yet, as you can see. This is still the woolly Siberian North over here. And I'm not going to worry about that right now. I hope to get into what I call the Bermuda Triangle today. That is the area from here, the back of the skull, this little bony aperture that's called the occiput, okay, to the shoulder blades, behind the shoulder blades down to the elbow. This triangle, I call it the Bermuda Triangle because that is the most difficult thing to trim, and it is also the easiest thing to trim and screw up. For sure. If you're going to screw up something on your dog's grooming, that is where it's going to be, is in that Bermuda Triangle. And there is no one instruction book on any of this top coat work. Every single dog is different. And let me draw your attention once again to, you always have a picture of a show springer right over where you're working so your eyes can go to that and then back to what you're doing. Go in the magazines, pick out a dog you like, but I'm going to trim this dog to make him look like that. That is the picture. And there it is. Okay. Somebody asked about thinning shears. Really, these are Conairs. They're like $12 on Amazon. It's the best pair of thinning shears I've ever used, and I've been doing this for over 50 years. I have bought the $200, $300, $400 pairs. Forget it. They work when I first get them. As soon as I have to get them sharpened, nobody can sharpen them right, and they're gone. So these are great. I can use these every day in this grooming shop. For 6 months when they go dull, I throw them away and I open up another pack. These are the best I've ever had, really, seriously. And it's not the money. It's not the money. It really is the thinning shear. Now, again, with back combing, the angle which you hold the comb, that's going to determine the length of hair, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off anything that's on top of that comb. So if I go like this, there's that much hair. If I go like this, there's a lot more hair. So it's all about how I'm angling this comb. And you're just going to have to move the camera around.
Yeah.
All right. So, my scissor is right along there. Now, when you have a dog with this much top coat, what you're going to have to do is just keep going over and over and over it. And I do not recommend you do it all in one day. It's too long for one dog to stand on the table all day. So my scissor is always right there. I'm never going this way or that way. Okay, now when I feel like I've gotten that off, then I can turn my scissor around, and again, the blade of the scissor should always match the direction of the coat. I would trim this way here, I would trim this way here, I would trim this way here. However the hair is growing, that is the way my scissors are going. And when you're using a thinning shear, it's 1, 2, or 1 and move on. You never strike the thinning shear more than 2 times in one spot. We'll end up with holes, holes, holes. I'm going to step over here. Now, along the side, I tend not to do any backcombing. I just let the sides fall, but I work out the curl and I work out the length, if you will, by just doing this method of taking the thinning shear across the top. And I'm going to leave that alone for a while. Don't just trim one place till it's done, then go to the next place when it's done. And I've said this many times. Keep working around the dog, whether you're trimming, whether you're using your hand dryer. Just keep moving. Then you'll eventually come back. After looking at this for a while, then you go back up here and you look at that. And then you do this and just keep moving. Don't get so hung up in one spot, because the final picture is the entire dog, not just one spot. Okay, now I'm going to do the back. You need to be up on the stool, or are you okay? Okay. So, last week we had worked this. Remember, you always want this to be, whether they have this dip here at the croup or not, you want that picture to be right off the tail. Now look how much hair I have left. There's a ton of hair in there. All that hair. As a matter of fact, there's hair from here that's over the tail. This hair is over the tail, and that's what you want. So we're not going to trim any more of that, since that's perfect. As far as back combing, we actually did do, I'm pretty happy with how this is, but I'll just do it one more time with this new angle. I'm not going to be taking anything off, because I think what I took off last week was good. And you keep your scissor moving. It's not this. No. You keep your scissor moving. The other thing is the slicker that you use. I highly recommend these Millers, because they're extremely soft. And you are going to have to constantly be brushing the dog. You don't want to hurt the skin. Okay, what's it going to take for you to be over here? Okay. And again, I'm using this wide, not the narrow. I'm only cutting, and it's the angle of the comb that is determining the length of my cut. That was a long one. He still didn't sleep in his towel quite right. Little by little by little. Don't over trim your top coats. The breed standard says the dog has to have a top coat. So don't go so short that there isn't any. If you don't like it wavy when you do your toweling, That will make the top coat go flatter. I mean, compare the video work that we did last week with this dog, and he's been living in a show town now for the past 3 or 4 days. It's a big difference. I'm going to go up to the neck and shoulders again. Oh, I sure don't like that. I'm going to put on the 7F blade. Maybe you want a front shot of what I'm doing here?
No.
Okay, this that's sticking up from the side, just to take my 7F blade. I'm just lightly going to go over that. I mean, what a big difference that made already.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit of thinning shear work. Just a little bit at a time. Telling you, it's all about sculpturing. Take your time. This is an art form, the show grooming. Now again, because I don't like the way this top coat is falling, it's still too curly for me. So for his home groom, I would stop at about where I have him now and then let him wear the towel again overnight and get this. Don't try to cut off curls by back combing. That won't work. You will get rid of the curls by properly toweling the dog overnight, and then the next night, and then the next night. Don't cut the curls off. Worst thing you can do. That's when you really get into trouble. Now, can you see this? You want to take the camera and show them this? Maybe from my angle. See all this sticking up? That's because he needs to be toweled better and then sleep on it. I am not going to cut that off. Do not cut that off. Big mistake people would make. Leave it alone. I know that when this gets toweled, that will go down flat. So, like I said, don't make the mistake
of trimming that.
of trimming a curl or trimming something that's sticking out, especially when you have the sense that that's going to lay flat once he's toweled better. Okay, now let's stand back and look at the whole dog. Okay, right. I mean, go back and look at the first footage that we shot last week of him after 2 months of being grown out to what we have now. And that's certainly a huge difference. And like I said last week, when you're trimming them at home, getting them ready for the dog show, don't over trim them. I don't finish the trim at home because he's going to wear the towel, he's going to be in the car, he's going to be moving around. And when I take the towel off the next day, this hair is going to be laying different. So you trim for the day that you're showing him. So leave yourself some hair. Now this underline, that underline that you have to do, I've seen it done with thinning shears. I've seen it done with straight shears. I don't think there's any difference in the final product, if you will. For sure, you want to make sure that you get all of your leg hair here, so you're not running into it. Now, for simplistic sake, I'm just going to use, and this is a double duck, which already has a curve to it. Another reason why I like this style shear. Now when I get here, I will turn this scissor this way. Now, what shape do you do? How far up? How far down? Well, look over the wall, and what do you see? A picture of Connor over there. Okay? My eye is looking at that while I'm trimming him. That is what I do. I don't show trim every week anymore the way I used to. So when I do a show trim, could have been 5 or 6 months since I did a dog in specials coat like this. Not my heyday anymore. So there he is. There's Connor with Howard's trim on him. Can't get any better than that. And this dog, thank God, does not need any corrective grooming on the front end. So I don't have to worry about doing any of that. I also like grooming to the black mat because I can see my line up against this black mat, which really does help. And this is definitely one of those things that you don't want to over trim at home, because this is something that is so easy to finish at the dog show. And when you get the dog wet, you blow them out, and he's been in the towel for another day, all of that is going to be completely different. So I'm going to kind of groom him as if he was going in the show ring here, like I said. And then I've seen tons of people use a thinning shear to do in this line. It might even make a difference on the texture of the coat. I'm sure that Connor's texture being liver was very different than this dog being black, and I don't remember having any difference as far as when I trim that one way or the other. Now I'm going to step back and look at him. Sorry. And then look at the picture of Connor up on the wall. Yeah. Looks pretty good to me. Now, if you've got a puppy or a dog that you're still working towards the championship, they're not going to have all this hair. So again, maybe in a magazine, find a real pretty winner's dog or winner's bitch at something another that has the length of hair that's closer to what your dog has, and follow that as your pattern under here. This underline was man-made by 2 professional dog show handlers, and then suddenly everybody had to do it. So it is completely cosmetic. There's no, I can't give you a rhyme or reason to it. There's no reason for it. It just is a trim look that everybody's now used to. So you just do it. Okay. Big difference from last week. Okay. Now, because he still has all this wave, I'm not going to trim any more of that. For me, I would want to put him in a towel again and get that flat before I futzed around with it. I'm going to turn him around and work on this side, which has not been worked on at all. I mean, ever in this entire process. I didn't work on it last week, and I haven't worked on it yet now. Can you see?
Mm-hmm.
The bar isn't in your way?
Nope.
All right, so here, I'm going to pull up. Ay. Hopefully this won't flop in your face again like it did last week. Carson. Ah! trying to just get that out of the way for you guys. All right, so this is really bad. This is not, he hasn't been sleeping in his towel right. But I can show you, you're gonna lift this up. I don't even have this up against the skin here because I want to leave this quite long until I know what I am doing with it. I'm just going to take off a little bit at a time. You see along here?
Uh-huh.
I'll just do this. See how the hair's coming up over the comb?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just cutting the hair that's on the top of the comb. That's why it's called back combing. Now, here I'm actually lifting the comb up because I want this to be longer. Stop, brush, take a deep breath. Don't rush. It's all about sculpturing. Just like sculpturing, if you take that mallet and that pick and you go clunk on something that you did not mean to take off, then you have ruined your statue. Same thing with this hair. You can always take hair off. You cannot glue it back on. Although there is a very funny story about that. In the terrier world, I was raised in the terrier world of handling with Bobby Barlow, Peter Green, all the greats. And yes, there was a great Welsh Terrier that was at Westminster Kennel Club going in for best in show. And somehow the dog overnight had gone in here and gnawed a big hole right in here. And if you know anything about Welsh Terriers, you know all this is full. The top coat's not too unlike ours, and then the legs. So suddenly now this dog's got this big nasty hole there. So what the handler did pretty much is that he took a whole bunch of hair like this and he stuck it in the hole and he took the dog in the group ring and he won the group. So yeah, it's so in some respects there you but for you you can take hair off, but you can't glue it back on. But that was one instance where, oh yeah, it got glued back on. And I won't say what dog and I won't say what handler because I was there and I saw it happen. So it's one of those things that just goes to my grave with me. But we were all standing ringside, laughing. We knew exactly what was going on. Dog shows can be fun, see gang? They can be fun. Fun. Well, I certainly don't like all that. Well, let's work on that. Lift it up. Well, because I can't really get to the right angle, here I am taking this, and rather than here, I'm taking off the top of the hair there, but I'm still lifting it up with the comb. Sorry, Carson. I'm just gonna have to deal with that again. Pretend you're an old English sheepdog, honey, just for a few minutes. Are we getting a good camera angle on that?
Uh-huh.
Because all this is good. Now, look how much nicer that is already. going to step over here. And I can't go too crazy because he's too curly. And I don't want to do a finished trim on curly hair. Bad, bad, bad mistake. Don't use your scissors to cut out the curls. Use your blanketing towel to get rid of the curls. And on a liver springer, you use your pumice stone to get rid of the curls. Oh yeah, I can't wait to do that one. I'm going to let Kira's top coat grow back in, and then we're going to do pumice stone, and that is the most magical thing in the world. To me, it's as magical, if not more magical, than what I did with this dog's rear end last week when we did corrective grooming to show more bend of stifle, shorter hock. That picture that the judge wants to see, even though it's not structurally correct, no springer in the world should have the short hock that the judges want to see. But if that's what they want to see, that's what we can give them. Because this is a breed with hair, and I can trim any springer to look like anything as long as I have hair. And that's another reason why I say you have got to judge this breed moving. You cannot judge this breed standing. There's too many top-notch handlers and breeders that know all these grooming tricks that can make a very average dog look good standing. It's when they move that is the proof in the pudding. Plumbing might look good when it's sitting there, but when you turn the faucet on and the water squirts everywhere, it doesn't work right. Well, then, there you go. Now, I'm not twisting and turning because of the camera. This is actually what I would be doing grooming this dog. Just trying to get my body in a position where I can take these shears and the blade of these shears and follow the direction that the coat is falling. It's here. Follow the direction of the coat. And where it's curly, do not cut this off. Boy, you know, you just want to get antsy and get rid of it. And before you know it, you've cut it off, and then you're going to have hair that sticks up, and it's going to look horrible for 3 months waiting for it to grow back out again. Don't do it. We will take care of that in our toweling. Little by little by little. It's all sculpturing. On this dog, I want to leave all this. We went over that last week. Why I'm leaving it. See how I'm using this scissor in the direction that the hair is growing? Every stroke, I look at where the hair is. That's hair's growing this way there. I'm not even going to touch this until he would be retoweled. I'm not even going to go there. It's too curly, it's too wavy. I do not know what I'm looking at. So he would just get, I would wet his top coat, retowel him, and look at that tomorrow. I'm sure as heck not going to get into it today. Same thing. I'm going to put him up against that gray cabinet, if you want to move the camera around. Okay. Now, you see how some of this hair sticking up there? Okay. Can you see that, Neil? Okay. Do not cut that off. Again, that's because he laid in the towel wrong. Don't cut that off. God, then it's just going to stand straight up like that in the show ring, and it's going to be horrible, dreadful. Don't do it. Leave it alone. Those are the kind of mistakes that people make in this Bermuda Triangle. You can see it real clear there. See it?
Yeah.
Don't cut it off. Leave it alone. This too. Don't cut it off. Leave it alone. I can see where the towel was laying. You can see the lines of the towel. Just leave it until, I have an opportunity to towel him better. And of course, the more hair I get off of him, then the better that the toweling's going to be, because it has to lay less hair down flat. A towel can only do so much when there's 5 inches of hair that really shouldn't be there. So if I'm starting with a dog this overgrown, yeah, it could take me 3 days. Get off X amount of hair, retowel him. Get off X amount of hair, retowel him, until I get down to that final show dog length. I know. Poor Carson. I'm going to go back over, so this is up against the gray wall. So I think people can see better up against the gray wall. So can I. I don't want to be looking into that mirror. So don't trim these things off. Don't trim that off. All that's going to lay flat when you get the towel back on him. So I'm just not even going to look at that. And don't go too crazy there either, because that's a towel mishap. The towel wasn't put on right. So that's another place. Don't cut that off. Just leave it alone. Don't cut any of this off. Just leave it alone. Trust me, if I towel him, all of that will be perfect when I take off the towel. So if I trim it off now, it's going to look horrible. It's going to take you 3 or 4 months to grow it back out. And everybody that you go to, help fix this, and they say, it can't be fixed, you have to grow it back out. So just don't do it. If you're not sure about something at home, leave it. Come to the dog show. And find a nice somebody at the dog show and ask their advice. Springer people tend to be extremely nice when it comes to that kind of thing. It's one of the reasons why Neil got a Springer at the York show. The regional Samoyed club is right next to our ring every day, and he wanted a second breed of dog just to change it up, something more lap, more lap doggy kind of thing. And he looked at the Springers and thought they were beautiful, which they are. But then he also looked at all the people, and at least the group of people who come to the Susquehanna Valley English Springer Spaniel Club specialty every year, we come with a specific thing in mind, and that's just to hang out and have a great time together and talk about our next litter, our past litter. Some people bring puppies, and we talk about our pedigrees and what we're doing, and we go out to dinner, and we just continue the lifelong friendships that we always have. It's a very, very, very wonderful, wonderful group of people. And it is definitely a group of people that I want to spend 5 days with, definitely. And that's why I look forward to it every year, because it's just fabulous. And Neil would look at all of us laughing and everybody getting along and having such a good time. And then we have the dinner together on Saturday. And he went, wow, I want to be a part of that. We are lucky in the Springer world. There is a lot of friendship and camaraderie. Is that the word?
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie, right. There is tremendous amounts. I'm happy to say the people that are still in Springer's today that I've known for 10, 20 years that are still today are still friends. It's just not that kind of breed where everybody gets weird with each other. If it's your day to win, it's your day to win. If it's not, it's not. Okay. So for at home, this is pretty much where I would stop. Because like I said, I do want to leave some hair on him. So I have something to work with tomorrow, and I am going to have to retowel him to finish these spots. But I can tell you that if I retoweled him, put him up on this table tomorrow, and just took the towel off, I wouldn't have to do any trimming. All this would be laying perfect. Here's another trick. At the dog show, well, what if you don't have a day to get over it? What if you take the towel off and the dog slept really weird at night? So this is a brush with hair on it there. Okay, so there's that. And I hope I don't go trip and fall over any of this. So here's another trick that you can do the actual day of the dog show. Don't spray water on the top coat. You're going to lift it, you're going to curl it. You're going to do exactly what you don't want to do, which is to have it lay flat. Now, I made this brush wet. Now, I'm going to take this brush and I'm going to brush in the top coat. If you want to know how to work top coat and how to work hair, go over and watch the terrier people with their top coats. Those are the great masters. The masters of all masters. What did I do with the spray bottle? Oh. Again, the water does not ever get sprayed on the top coat. So I'm going to take this brush. I bet, can you see the top line up against that gray? I bet just from what I'm doing, everybody should be seeing what's happening here. All those marks that I was telling you, don't cut them. They're going to lay down flat when you retowel the dog just by doing this. I'm working all of that out of this top coat. This one is definitely going to need an overnight. If you're at a show, just do the best you can. Don't cut it off. God's going to take you weeks, months to grow it back in. So I would do this, especially right in here. If you have all this lifting up, if something's going to lift, it's usually right in here, over the shoulders, over this part of the back. So now I have brushed the water in. Now I'm going to take my toweling towel, starting from the top. That's it. So I'm getting ready for the dog show. I'm ringside. I'm waiting for Springer's to start. I don't like what's lifted up on his top coat there because of the way he slept in his towel overnight. So I spray my good old Now it's not appropriate for him to shake. This is a Phillips brush, and yes, it is 100% boar bristle. I'm sure I have had this since I worked with Bobby Fischer. That's how long I've had this brush. This was a terrier brush, but I certainly absolutely positively use it here with my Springer top coats in the exact same way that the terrier people use it. So just by doing that and then standing here and having this, so this is heavier than what he would sleep in overnight because I folded it 2 or 3 times. So now he's got the heavy terry cloth on there. Now, then that other trick that I showed you by putting the water on the slicker brush. And then brushing the feet and the leg up. Well, look at the difference there. Big difference between those two. Look how pretty that is. This dog's got gorgeous bone and feet, but why not make it prettier? Now he's got more of a high arch on the foot, although what he has is perfect, but this just enhances it and enhances the bone and just gives that show ring perfect finish. Look at the difference there. Big difference. So once I get these dogs bathed and blown out, I never put water directly on the coat again. I'm done with that. If I want to use water in that method, it goes on the brush and then goes on them. I did not do the outline on the other side. That's okay. And okay, now I have not done this that long, and there are a lot of dogs that once I get done and I get my armband and I'm waiting to go in, I will do this trick of taking the bristles of this boar's head brush, making it wet, and then working that into the top line. Now, just in those few minutes, other than that little sucker that just won't cooperate, can you see the difference?
Huge.
Yeah, huge difference. Still not what I would want it to be, but you wake up and you go to the dog show and that towel just is twisted at night, the way he sleeps in it, and you take it off, and all of this looks horrible because of the way he slept in the towel. You can't trim the hair off, so you just do the best you can. And for sure, this trick of working the top coat in and down, and it's not real wet, just a little bit, so you can do this over the whole dog. I can see it working as I'm doing it. So it would be hard for me to believe that you can't see some of this effect that it's having. And again, you could even use this method here. Just keep working. Now, the other thing too, whenever you've got your show springer up on the table, this is the perfect time to teach them to keep their own tail up. So the best way to do that, either on the table or at ringside, is you take these 3 fingers, magic fingers, from the base of the tail and up. That, or 2 fingers, that's teaching him to use his own muscles to hold his tail up. Just going like that isn't doing anything. This. Go buy the terrier rings. Watch the terrier people. This is what they do. That's how you teach your dog to hold their own tail up. Now, if their own tail is up in the ring, then it gives you the opportunity to use your hands to show the judge the beautiful headpiece that the dog has, maybe this part of the dog, maybe you want to run your hand over the back of the hock because you know the dog that the judge is comparing it to isn't nearly as nicely formed as your dog is here. If you don't have to keep holding this tail up, it gives you 2 hands to be doing all sorts of magical things in the ring to advertise this dog in the 3 minutes that you have with the judge. So I can see a big difference in that 4 bristle brush. Don't cut it off, please. Just work it down. Now, already that's 5,000 times better than it was before I started doing this technique. I could absolutely positively show him. Like that.
Yep.
Right. But you can see just by taking this bristle brush, I'm not putting a lot of water on it now, and working this top coat down with this bore. You can get, I've seen these at Sally's beauty supply outlet, these brushes. So that is what you want to do. Now, I'm lucky in that the worst toweling marks on this dog are the off show side. The side of the dog that the judge is really never going to see. So if I were showing this dog, I would just say, do the best I can over here because the judge really isn't going to see that side of the dog. Concentrate on the judge's side. Don't worry about this off show side, and just make sure when you get him out of the ring that you towel him better the next night. Oh, where's my comb? Then, again, the ears go against the gray cabinet. Again, you can either do this with the straight shear. I like these double duck curve shears, round dog, round shears, or a thinning shear, either way. I've seen it done both ways. I have to admit, when I trim my own hair, which I do, I use thinning shears. It does leave much more natural. Did everybody see what I did there? I just pulled it down and went like that, straight across. And that's pretty much done. Same thing over here. Straight down. You don't have too much left here. Done. Oh, one little hair there. Done. So this is also cosmetic, whether you want it straight across, whether you want a little bit more of an oval. But since I'm referencing the picture of Connor over there, that is the way Howard trims his specials dogs. So if it's good enough for Connor and Howard, it is certainly good enough for me. So you can see that what I just did with his ear matches what's up there. And again, I'm standing back and I'm looking at this, and then I'm looking at that picture. I'm looking at this whole outline, and I'm looking at that picture. And I'm trimming this dog to fit that picture. That's why I just go through the magazine and get out a nice dog. Make sure it's a nice one. If it's in a magazine, somebody's paying money for it, but go get it laminated. Send me an email. I'll send you that picture of Connor. I send it out with my DVDs when people buy the Show Grooming sets. To be honest with you, that's like a group 3 picture. But when I was going through them to find a picture that really gives that whole outline that I want to be able to have people see, that was like the best picture I had in his album. And who cares if it's a group 3? That's the picture that I want to groom off of. I'm not grooming a best in show ribbon. There you go. Huh? Ta-da! No. I'm pretty much done. As far as I'm concerned, he's pretty much ready for the show ring. What do you think, Dad?
Wonderful.
Right. So It's all about using this boar's head brush to get this down if they didn't sleep well in their towel the night before. And just to show you the different lengths, remember this hair is actually coming all the way over into this tail to here, from here to here. You want to leave all that hair long. Okay? On this dog, it's about that length. Every dog is different. Okay? Then we get in here. It's a little bit longer in here because I'm working into the shoulders and the neck. So there's more length from the mid-back to here than anywhere else in this back combing. Then I start to go short again to blend it in. So it's shorter, then longer, then shorter. That's probably the rule of thumb for all of them. But how I would trim this front end if the dog needed corrective grooming would be entirely different than what I just did, because I didn't do anything with this dog. All I did was took off excess hair and just left him. All right, here's the top of his shoulder blades. Here's his elbow. Okay? And remember, like I said, his breastbone is right there. There it is. I'm up against it with my finger. So if I can get that ear out of the way. So his breastbone's there, top of his shoulder blade's there, and then the elbow's there. So when they're talking about a 45-degree angle, there it is. They're less angulated behind. You don't want a 45-degree angle in the back. So here's this point, and this point. And the elbow should be way under this dog. If I put a piece of cardboard up here, a third of this dog should be in front of its elbow. A third of this dog should be in front of its elbow. So that is a dog with a very nicely made front end. When all of this sits way under this dog and all of this is out here. That is a good shoulder. And you could take this ringside and keep brushing this down the whole time you're in the ring if you need to. But I think that's going to be it for today as far as working top coat. I hope I've given people some good hints and ideas. This will really save the day, this technique. And then putting the towel over top. Don't spray the top coat. It'll just lift it and curl it more. Get a boar's head brush. And I don't know, you can't get any prettier than that. You can't get any prettier than that. And there we go. All right, well, thank you for joining me today on top coat work with an English Marrier Spaniel. And this is Carson, and I'm sure that he's glad he's done for the day. What do you think, Carson? Huh? Yeah. He says, oh yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad. He's a good boy though. Yes, he is. He's a good boy. Okay. Oh my God, it's 6:45. Definitely. Time for that glass of wine. The coffee has absolutely worn off and the wine hasn't kicked in yet. So Carson and I are both going to say bye-bye.